Hi everyone, this is Nick Despotidis, and I have the privilege of being joined by my friend and colleague Paul Levine, co-president of our academy. Paul, thanks so much for joining me this morning to answer a lot of the members' questions.
Yep, thank you for inviting me to do this. I really look forward to answering these questions and from our members, and hearing hearing your answers as well. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Our next question is from Steve Jacobs, and I think, I'm going to give a plug for the annual meeting. Steve and I were classmates. We graduated together in 1986, so over 30 years ago. And believe it or not, the Academy meeting, the Ortho-K, brought us back together, so much so we got together late last year. And what brought us back together is Steve is one of the most intelligent people I've ever encountered in my lifetime. And for me to bond again with him through Ortho-K has been a privilege. So I really wanted to take the time to answer his very good questions. I asked Steve to audio tape them, so I'm going to play them now.
Okay.
Hey, Nick. Thanks for taking these questions. I want to ask you a little bit about the tiers you use for your Ortho-K services. I recall you mentioned something about them, but how do you structure and determine them? Even with our limited experience, I see this is going to be necessary. Right now, we haven't tried to take on anything tricky, but at this phase in the learning curve, I'm happy to give up a little bit of a higher fee for the knowledge and the confidence we get from a challenge. But once we know what we can do and how much time and expertise it will take to do it, we want to be reimbursed accordingly. Create the tiers. To what extent do you rely on numbers, separately and or in combination, such as Ks, refraction, topographical values, versus other factors like the kid's age, myopia progression, and even things related to the personality of the parent or child? And are there other things you take into account also? Another question is how and when are these discussed with parents and patients and families? To what extent, if any, do you explain them? You mention that there are different fees and different tiers and that this patient falls in this one for these reasons, or you just present the fee you determine to be appropriate and deal with questions or concerns as they come up. Finally, how do you determine the appropriate fee difference between the tiers? And would you recommend establishing a set number of tiers early on in Ortho-K practice, or just kind of growing into them with experience? All right, thanks a lot. I look forward to hearing your answers.
Great question, great series of questions. Do you want to take one at a time there, Paul? Do you tier your fee structure?
We do. Yep, we absolutely do. And how we come up with those tiers is, essentially, we're looking at how high is the prescription, how symmetrical or asymmetrical is the cornea, how much difficulty do we anticipate with this particular patient. I mean, if I can't get them to open their eyes for a good topography, they're already moving up the tiers in my mind, because you know that this case is going to take a little bit longer. You know there's going to be more hand-holding. You know that there's going to be more staff time and chair time involved in a case like that. And that's how we do it. Of course, the whole concept of tiers came from when I went to your Supercharge seminar. So if anybody who's listening hasn't been to it, or you're sitting on the fence about going to it, I really encourage you to go to Nick's Supercharge seminar, because a lot of this information and a lot of the things we're talking about, came from that. And a lot of the policies that we have in our practice came out of my experience there. So just a little plug for you, and I just wanted to send you my appreciation for what I learned from you about this tier structure, among other things.
I appreciate that, Paul. So I'm going to jump in, and when do you present the fees, Paul?
We do it at the consultation.
At the end, in the beginning?
At the end, after.
Okay. Yeah. Again, thank you. And Steve, I think you got to tier it. And you got to start at least with 3 tiers for simplicity. We have more tiers because we've been doing it longer. And we present at the end, we don't discuss your tier 1, tier 2. We basically state, after this comprehensive consultation, this is how much the treatment is and what it includes. Like Paul, it's a lot more than RX and Ks. We take the RX, obviously, we take the Ks, we take the age of the student, as you mentioned, we take the sensitivity, like Paul mentioned, and I get away from fees, Steve. I was really bad at it. I always underestimated how many lenses it would take for me to fit them. So about literally 15 years ago, I took it out of my hands. The staff knows me. I have an experienced staff member present the fees. They're the ones who usually did the topography. It's very interesting Paul mentioned topographies, because as all of us who are listening know, that's critical. And if we're struggling to get the topographies, we're going to struggle for a year to get this patient fit properly, even if they're a -1 with average case. So the staff member takes that into account. At the end of the consultation, they state, you know, to Dr. D says your child is a candidate. This is the treatment cost. This is what it includes, etc. So the tech selects the tier. The tiers are based on our chair costs, and I encourage you to do this, Steve. Whether you're starting out or not, it doesn't matter. You don't want to lose profitability because you're going to lose enthusiasm. Your chair cost, your tier 1 should be what your chair cost is, plus lenses for a year of treatment. If you're going to do it like I do, 2 years of treatment. So in other words, if you figure I'm going to invest about 3 hours this year fitting this patient, it should be 3 hours your chair cost. Your chair cost, for those of you out there, is how much does it take for you to turn on the lights, pay your staff, pay everyone except yourself at the end of the day. So your accountant can tell you that. If it's $2,000 at the end of the day, you've paid everyone except yourself. You know, if you made $2,000 and you were open for 10 hours, your chair cost is $200 an hour, where you've paid everyone except yourself. So if you are going to need 3 hours to fit this patient, and using my analogy, it would be 3 hours times 200, plus the number of lenses you're going to need, and you're going to need at least 2 lenses, but it's more like 6 lenses, Steve, to get them fit, sometimes more. You put that cost in there, and your chair cost plus your lenses, you're going to double it, and that's your level 1. And that's really for your what you think is going to be your straight case. And then level 2 should be at least $500 more than that, and your level 3, in my opinion, should be at least $500. Now, again, that goes into chair cost and things like that. You're going to get hit up anyway because you're going to underestimate what it's going to take, but your fees should be your fees, and like Paul said in earlier podcasts, you have to reanalyze them on a going basis. Your last thing is I think I answered all 3. So really, you set 3 tiers at minimum. They're based on your chair cost of material, and you're going to underestimate what tier the patient's going to be in anyway, and just don't be afraid to charge, because it's kind of paradoxical thinking. Even though you'll get less patients in the beginning because you're presenting this fee, once you fit them successfully and you've profited from it, you'll be encouraged to do more of them. Anything to add, Paul?
No, I think you pretty much have covered it. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add to that.
Great. Well, thanks, Steve. Thank you very much. I look forward to catching up with you at the meeting. And thank you to everyone for listening. I also want to thank Paul. We started this podcast at 6:30 this morning. We answered a series of your questions. Neither of us get reimbursed other than the small accolades we may pay one another, but it's really to give you enthusiasm, to keep you guys motivated to keep going. We know this is not easy stuff, and we've allotted our time away from our family to really give you our insight, and I hope you appreciate it, and more so, I hope you benefit from it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. I appreciate your inviting me to do this, and hopefully we'll be able to see everybody at Vision by Design coming up in April in Dallas.
Yep.